Dragons, welcome to the Radiant Eclipse MLP broadcast. This is episode 1, recorded on April 1st, 2012. My name's Vanacus, and I'll be your guide through this wonderful world of rainbow-colored equins. Please put your hooves together for this week's co-host.
Hello everyone, I am Mainarian, and I am a stand-in co-host for Toasty, who is usually here.
Every week, we start off the show by introducing our special guest. Some of us are famous and well-recognized for our merits. Others are no different than you and me. Today with us, we have Mr. Poninator. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, kind sirs. Yeah, as some of you may know, I'm just the animator bloke who just happens to make funny things about ponies in Flash, ranging from really terrible ship stuff onto just about random generic stuff. I'm generally a nice guy, and I study computer programming with my main goal trying to become a game programmer of some sort, as any cool kid does, and just keeping animation as my side hobby and all that cool stuff. And as for my favorite character in My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, it's a tie between Fluttershy or Pinkie Pie. I just can't decide between those two because they both have their own merits that make them so uniquely cool and all that. But of course, every pony is the best pony. That's okay too. As for my favorite episode, that's a bit hard to kind of decide on. I would have to say it's either Luna Eclipse or Lesson Zero from Season 2, because Luna's antics are fun to watch, and then again, watching Twilight go crazy is very fun to watch too. And as for what do I enjoy about the fandom at large, the biggest thing for me that stands out from the Pronidom is that there is so many talented people, so much energy, so much going on that it's amazing how much gets done every day, which is just baffles me, because in no other fandom I have ever seen this much of input from the fans. Sure, I have been to a bunch of fandoms, but they never got quite as active as pony fans, because seriously, just looking at some people trying to do 22-minute fan episodes, that's beyond mind-boggling for me.
I am Mainarian, as I said. The things I do in the fandom is basically I draw stuff, and right now I'm actually drawing for this very show every week. That's kind of what I do. I'm also involved in a Fallout Equestria mod project for Fallout 3. As a concept artist. My favorite character, I'd have to say Vinyl Scratch. It is Vinyl Scratch. I know people will go about, yeah, but she doesn't actually have any canon personality, and that is true, but there's just so much awesome fanon around that character. I just love that character. But canon-wise, it is a bit of a tie between Rainbow Dash and Applejack. Well, it started out as a Rainbow Dash fan, but Applejack has kind of won my heart a bit. So yeah. As for favorite episode, that is actually the hardest question to answer. I don't know. I really, really don't know. It's like every time there's a new episode, I always just laugh my off, and I can't choose. Basically, I just can't. There are too many great ones. I'm sorry. As for what I enjoy most about the fandom, everything. I never seen so much amazing fan content. Not just like a lot, but also the quality of what gets put out. It's like fan animations, music, all the music. I think I have 2,610 pony songs on my phone at the moment. All the music, all the art, of course, and all the silly, goofy stuff like Equestrian Inquirer is amazing, and of course Friendship is Witchcraft is just totally glorious. There is so much awesome in this fandom. And of course the people. I've met so nice people through this. I'm getting my trip to the next meet in the southern of Sweden paid from the Bronies, because I got yelled at for not being affording to come, so they paid my trip there, because that's how nice people just are. It's crazy. But I love everything.
So hey everyone, my name's Vanacus. I'm a podcaster, and I used to be the host of Equestrian Tides. That is, until I became partners with EverFree Radio and started making this program. For a while, the blog ran several series dedicated to reviewing episodes of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. The first one being Bronies React, which were recorded live by Toasty and myself, and they were uploaded onto YouTube during the fall of 2011. After battling dozens of faulty DMCA claims from haters, we eventually migrated over to my blog and started producing the Vanacast review series instead, and Sethisto's been kind enough to post those in the nightly roundups. Along the way, I made some pretty cool friends, most of which either became co-hosts or have their own personal segment on the program. For my my favorite character, I would have to go with Pinkie Pie because of her silly and optimistic outlook on life. Like myself, she has a deep passion for entertainment and constantly throws parties for her friends. She loves to sing and is responsible for performing some of the most memorable songs in the series, whether she's saving some pony with her random but useful Pinkie sense, or saying hello to the audience by breaching the fourth wall. Pinkie Pie is always ready to brighten up my day. Hurricane Fluttershy is currently my favorite episode. The animation was amazing and Fluttershy got some much needed character development and taught one of the most important lessons of the series to date, which is you don't have to be the best to try your best. And, with dedication and perseverance, you can accomplish anything. The episode also answered a question that's been on my mind for almost an entire year. If Cloudsdale produced Ponyville's weather, where did they collect their water? For the longest time, I thought it was gathered from the sea, which, meant I was right to some extent. And, well, that's good enough for me. Bronies have always been the driving force of the fandom. This program is living proof. Right now there's Bronies all around the world tuning into this broadcast. While each of us come from different social, political, ethnic, religious, and economic backgrounds, we're united by love, tolerance, and our mutual appreciation of this awesome show. We're not just a web culture, we're a community. And we love entertainment, and we use our talents to benefit others as well as ourselves. And to my knowledge, we're the only group of fans that's ever accomplished this. So now that everyone's been introduced, it's time to start the show. One of the neat features of Radiant Eclipse is that we're a modular-based program. Basically, it's a giant sandwich made up of even tinier sandwiches, which we'll call segments. Without any further toppings, I present to you the Limelight segment of the show. After all, we got an amazing guest that we know nothing about, or not nearly enough. So, Mr. Poninator, how did you become a Brony?
I was bored browsing DeviantArt. Back in February, March 2011, I was like, what to do? I don't know. I'm just browsing on my old account. And then in March, I noticed Timon1771. I had been following his work before, and I kind of mutually knew the guy. So I was then suddenly surprised that he was drawing ponies. I didn't know where these ponies came from. I didn't hear of this show, even though it had started and it was probably like halfway through with the season 1, but I still hadn't heard of any of it because I wasn't going to any websites that were really fans of the show at that moment. So because I didn't know anything about the show itself, for some reason thought it was from Pantheon Stocking with garter belts. That's a really weird anime, and I was like, maybe I'll watch Pantheon Stocking, but there were no ponies in it. I was disappointed. And so, why did I draw that? Comparison was that my friends were in love with Pantheon Stocking at the time, and I thought the style was similar, but as I was disappointed, I kind of forgot about the pony thing. Then later on in June, when I actually stumbled upon the real ponies on YouTube, I found Correspond's videos with all the small excerpts from the show with just one-liners or just small scenes and all that. I just kept on watching those small scenes. It's Mario the Pony, but why is this so cool? What is this about? I just keep on watching and watching and watching, and through this, I'm watching the show. Then I watched the season 1 in about 2 or 3 days and enjoyed every little bit of it. Even though I thought it was really girly and all that, so I was still enjoying it. It just reminded me of those more golden days of kids' cartoons where there's actual content to the story and or actual stagings or actual meaning without going to more really boring stuff, because all of the time girly shows didn't just try to be girly for the sake of being girly, not trying to do anything beyond that. So I was really refreshed by that, and then just not thought I should get involved, because there seem to be a lot of bronies in here, but I was like, okay, maybe I'll do a small picture of Blaze Brony, because I was playing Blaze Blue a lot at the time, and I just made a mock-up character select screen and then later coded it in Flash. Through this, I know Flash animation. I have been doing Flash animations before. I'll just start the habit again and make Blaze Brony intro to Blaze Blue Calamity Trigger with ponies in it. And yeah, then I made another one, and yeah, from that, it just kept going, and I knew I was a brony at that point.
Were you always interested in Flash animation?
Well, I wasn't interested in Flash animation always. It was kind of lost interest in back in 2009 because I had been interested in animations and all that since I was a little kid because I always adored all those animated cartoons, even animes that I got to watch as a kid and on the VHS and all that. I was like, this animation is cool. It can do so many cool things. I would like to do something like this. And then my friend one day said, "Hey, do you want to Flash? I got this cool program from my mother." And I was like, "Oh, gimme!" And I then installed it on my computer and started messing around with it, and I couldn't really draw anything at the time. I was on just in stick figures and all that. Then I kept on going and eventually learned it and got eventually better at drawing, and then I kind of started posting my stuff on various websites back in 2006, but then I kind of lost interest completely to animation. Before that point, I'm trying to get into animation, not just as a hobby, but more like a profession. Then I realized that it's not my thing to work on animation all day, all long as a profession, because it just didn't feel right for me, and I completely quit in 2009 to computer programming instead. But then Ponies came along and I started the habit again.
You've made animations for all the recent episodes of My Little Pony. What are your plans when you run out of new episodes to parody? Will you return to the older episodes you missed?
Well, so far I've only missed the season 1 episodes and then the first 2 episodes of season 2. But then after season 2 is over, I might go back to some of those season 1 episodes and do quick parodies on them and all that. But other than that, I'm probably going to do something like more bigger things or completely original things, like write custom stories and all that. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do after season 2 is over.
Why do you depict Princess Celestia as an evil, plot-loving tyrant? Were Skyjo's animations inspiration for her personality?
Kind of yes and kind of no, because it's 50-50, it's either Trollestia or Angrestia as I depict her. It's kind of like both Skyjo and then some of John Josego in there in the mix, so it's kind of like the hybrid of the two. And also that because before Skyjo's friendship is magic, there wasn't all that Trollestia stuff, and so I got the idea. I'm just love messing around with her because for some reason she's the most fun to make fun of in that way, because she doesn't really show that much, so it's easier to use her for very random stuff.
If you weren't making animations about ponies, which series would you animate instead?
If it wasn't ponies, I probably wouldn't be animating anything at the moment. I would be just programming, and you wouldn't even hear me anywhere because I haven't really published any of my programming work anywhere.
Which artists and animators within or outside of the fandom influences your work the most?
Well, as I said before, John Zazeko, Molestia is where I base the Molestia when I'm doing Molestia stuff, and that's where I get that idea. And then for the Angrestia part, it's Skyjo and other artists that do Trollestia kind of stuff. Other animators that I take inspiration from are like No More Than 9, the fellow that's made the Epic Pie Time animations, and then usually I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he does. Why I don't take his style for my animations, because I'm doing really cruel things or really weird things and most of the time. He's the fellow that makes those ponies with portal guns animations. I just love them so much. And then of course Hot Diggity Demon, who is doing all the dot move animations of ponies, and then all the other artists are like Pixel Kitties, YG55.
Alright, so what's the hardest part of making an enjoyable clip?
Starting to work on it, because it's always the hardest part to actually start working on it. It takes some kick to the blank to actually start working on it, but when you get to the flow, it's just going along with the flow, and then you get it done pretty fast. Or if you're going somewhere and not like I'm often very sleepy or something, so like something very simple takes like a year for me to do because I'm all sleepy and all that. Because when it comes to ponies, I get sleep deprivation from working on stuff. All their annoying parts are like doing lip sync because I'm not too good at that, and then some cases of really weird character animations because sometimes I have hard time with building the character's eyes because those eyes they take all my anger.
Hey, guys and gals of this crazy world, this is Mallets and Cantaloupes with your host, Mastermind, and...
That one guy. Hey guys, how you doing?
And we are going to review Season 1, Episode 1 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, The Mayor and the Moon.
First off, I think we should really talk about how much we liked it when we first saw this, because we're watching this for more than a couple times, and I think what we thought of it first time was pretty important, huh?
Yep, first impressions are key, and I will tell you, this episode did a good job of drawing me in when I first saw it.
Yeah, when I watched this first episode, I was just like, I was a little skeptical. This is like the first episode I actually watched. I think that's pretty appropriate. First watched it and I was like, well, it's ponies. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm not sure if I really want to watch it. But, I'll do it anyways. And so I watched it, and, I was pleasantly surprised. And I kind of really wanted to watch the second one, and it took off from there.
Yep. And being an animation fan myself, I still took this one with a grain of salt. And luckily for me, it took that grain of salt and made an excellent dish.
So it's always good to have like a really good first episode. And since they showed this as a pilot episode, and it's a good pilot episode, I have to admit, I have no problem with that whatsoever.
It's definitely a great episode to start on.
So let's take a look at this episode. Let's start out with the story and how this is laid out.
Yep, and it was a very well done story. There was just a few scenes that ran a bit slow.
So what scenes are you thinking about? I mean, I liked all the scenes. It introduced everybody in the show. It had a little bit of humor here and there. What scene you thought was a little slow?
Like Applejack's scene, it was good, don't get me wrong. It just dragged a teeny tiny bit, as did Fluttershy's scene a bit. But it's nothing major and nothing I can really complain over.
When I think about it, the Fluttershy scene, I think as far as her obsession over Spike, it was meant to be a little dragged on because he was just like talking to Spike the whole time and she has to just kind of slowly walk all the way back to the library with someone just obsessing. And I think about the scene with Applejack. You never see any of the rest of the family for the rest of the season, but, that's a big family, I have to admit. And everyone's cooking, so there's just so much food, and they're just introducing everyone in the family, just like...
Everybody and their grandmother.
But they really did emphasize, the actual characters that would stick around. Everybody else that you wouldn't really see later, they just kind of flash by. But they gave, a good couple seconds for, Big Macintosh,
and
Apple Bloom, Granny Smith. Yeah, and I guess that's just kind of how it works. It's just we have other stuff to do. And they're like,
stay a while and listen.
What I think is, that was meant to drag on a little. That's you're gonna have to stay here for a while and eat. That's gonna take a while. Fluttershy follows me around until I get back home at our library, because Twilight, current residence, the library.
Some scenes drag, not to the point where it's annoying. Okay, let us talk about the animation and the overall design of this episode. Well, given that this was only the first episode, there are bound to be a few animation slip-ups here and there. But the errors are small, and if you're really looking, then it may annoy you.
I'm actually quite amazed that I've noticed Spike falls off the ladder when putting books away while talking about Nightmare Moon in the library pretty much at the beginning of this show. He falls off the ladder falls backwards with him. It lands right on top of Twilight's back. But the thing is, I looked at the ladder and it's not on the ground. It's leaning up against the bookcase again.
One highlight I would like to bring up is during the same library scene, we get a bit of foreshadowing when we see Nightmare Moon's image in the hourglass. That is a nice touch. And this also does a good job at building the world in just that first few episodes. We see Canterlot and we see Ponyville. It's done pretty well. The animation in this episode was a bit sketchy, but not very distracting. Now let's talk about the comedy. There was plenty of comedy to be found here, whether it be from Spike or any of the other ponies.
There's a lot of physical humor in the first episode.
There was plenty of humor, whether it be slapstick, witty banter, and expressional humor, which was displayed by my friend, that one guy here.
And it's just how, they express this humor. The scene where Twilight, she's drinking out of punch, right?
And then we find that she drank punch laced with hot sauce. That is priceless.
She's the responsible, well-read pony.
Recluse.
And she's not the party animal at all.
Nope.
She's stuck in a room, under a pillow.
She keeps to herself. She has other priorities.
Yeah, saving all of Equestria from Nightmare Moon, but we're not on that quite yet.
How did this episode make us feel after watching it again? Not to say there was anything that stood out, it was fairly standard. Everyone stayed in their basic roles, which was nice, and in most cases there were some characters that are actually a refreshing take on the stereotypes that they were given, like Rainbow Dash being the tomboy that likes to show off, and Rarity being the girly girl. Good thing that they downplayed that. Overall, this episode didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth. It left me with a very sweet feeling, a feeling of happiness.
You know, the characters are pretty distinct. Like, when you first introduced everyone, you know, we really wanted to get an idea of who these people are, and they gave it to us on a silver platter. Because, you know, remember the Fluttershy scene, she's just almost doesn't talk at all. And, you know, it's just like a face-to-face confrontation with another pony, same age, otherwise just completely shut down the moment Twilight just walked up and scared all the birds away. It's like, what's your name? And it's like, I can't hear you. And she just gets lower and lower and lower, and she doesn't even want to talk. And I was like, oh, awkward moment. But, you know, she's not like that for the rest of the series. She's
well versed in speaking.
Once you get to know someone a little better, you know, you open up a little. That's a pretty big part of being a shy person, or a shy pony in this case.
This is a good episode to come back to, considering how far we've already gotten, seeing as the second season's basically almost over.
Yeah, you know, considering all its flaws, as it is, it's a piece of art. It has imperfections of its own. It is the pilot episode, but treating it as an episode to the rest of the series, and having it continue on from a to-be-continued episode to the finishing part 2, this is a just really great way to introduce all the characters who eventually team up and fight against all their fears and or realize their characteristics specific to their element that would be later introduced in the second episode. I see it more like as the first episode now more than the pilot, and just as it stands, I still think this is just a great episode.
It's a fairly good episode, but it's a really great pilot episode. Simple as that.
Alright, so now that we're more familiar with each other, let's kick off this program with some news. So, Season 2, Episode 23, Ponyville Confidential, was just released yesterday. What was your favorite scene from the new episode?
I did enjoy the fact that they mentioned the great and powerful Trixie. That mentioning kind of made the day for me. But that was one of the best parts of that episode, in my opinion.
All those Trixie and Pinky party problem and all that, I really like the sound of those articles. They just sounded so fun, and some could even do as standalone episodes like in Pinky's party problem that could be incorporated to an episode or so forth. So yeah, that was really my favorite part, but then there is also that small part that I really need to give special attention to because it sounds pretty grotesque when you think about it, is that because Spike was at the spa too when Rainbow Dash came along to the scene, and the Spike was started and the cucumber slices on the ice fell off to Rainbow's face, and then Rainbow just eats one of the slices. Just a few moments later, Spike comes to her and pulls the cucumber slice out of her stomach. I was like, what? Yeah, it's not my favorite part of the episode, but it really stood out for me because, oh god.
The first time I watched Party 1, I was so confuzzled about the lesson, because I felt the lesson should have been that Pinky had to calm down and take it easy and realize that everyone cannot, like, be at her parties every day. But instead the lesson was that, no, let's throw her a party, because she wants it. And I was like, what? And now, when she was like, I have a problem, I was just like, yes, Pinky, you do. It's so good you finally realized that. It's just, that scene also made it for me. In reality, she would seriously be considering having
an intervention.
Yeah, yeah. It just makes so much sense, you know. And of course, fan speculation is always wonderful. I love to fan speculate. You know, you see her background as the lonely one on the rock farm. You can imagine where that attention craving comes from. It's actually a very good developed character, I'd say, in that aspect, that it makes so much sense how she is with her background and stuff like that. I just felt when I saw the part of 1 that I thought the episode lesson would be like, they'd have an intervention for her, like, Pinky, calm down, we still love you, even though we cannot come to your party every day, you know.
So busy throwing a birthday party that she schedules, you know, her pet's after party on the day of her own birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's passion or obsession.
Mixture of both, perhaps.
Unfortunately, Equestria isn't always a pleasant world. It's filled with dangerous monsters, ancient deities, and natural disasters. What would you do if you were faced with the worst possible thing? Fluttershy is on vacation. You find a way to travel to Equestria, but the process turns you into a manticore. How would you gain the pony's trust without the ability of speech?
I'm getting this thrown in my face. I actually came up with this question. I didn't realize I'd have to answer it.
Yeah, that is actually really ironic.
Yes, it kind of is. It's a hard question. I mean, the ponies are apparently not that keen to trusting a newcomer, judging by the bridal gossip episode. I guess you'd have a pretty tough time trying to get the attention. Maybe you could pick a fight and have Rainbow Dash come at you or something, and then try to make friends with her that way. But to even meet any pony, because they'd probably just hide in their houses and not go out or even letting you meet them. So, or just to request, like, head up to Canterlot or something, because I guess Celestia would know what to do. She usually does, in a weird way.
Just like she knew when Spike grew 100 times his size. Oh, Royal Guards, I'll send the Wonderbolt to go take him down.
and also the entire, oh, hi Twilight, happy Tuesday, love the new main. Yeah, she totally wasn't behind the bookshelf, knowing exactly that Twilight was having the problem she was having.
So with that being said, would they be prepared for a manticore invading Ponyville, or would they jump to conclusions and assume it's aggressive?
I think they would, just because the entire bridal gossip thing, they being quite keen to prejudice, I think you'd have quite a problem. So I don't know. Or perhaps you could, like, try to reason with Pinkie Pie, because she's random, and she'd probably just freak out, or she wouldn't. You never know.
Depends. What if her pinky sense never went off?
The way she freaked out about Luna, that was of course kind of trolling, anyway, but still. Well, I guess you'd try just to go into town and try to reason with someone, and if I couldn't, I don't know, I'd probably start up a riot or something, just to get some pony out, and that'd probably be Rainbow Dash, and then I'd try to make friends with her. Kind of like the Buffaloes, you know? And of course I wouldn't be able to talk, but I'd write stuff with my claw in the sand.
Well, since Fluttershy is away and I'm suddenly at Manticore, for some reason I feel that there are only two options. That one is going to Celestia herself or Luna and try to kind of be nice without trying to avoid getting the Royal Guards kick my flank or anything, and then the other option is trying to attack Ponyville right when Twilight is freaking out about something terrible is happening in the future. I need to fix it. I would just try to come to Twilight at that moment just to mess around with her. So yeah, those are my two options that I would consider doing, but I would say it's worth it either way. I would like to try either going MGS to the Canterlot or messing around with Twilight. Anything works.
I would probably make my way to Canterlot, and if the Royal Guards are going to be too much of an issue, possibly Zecora. She knows the Everfree Forest very well. I'm sure she's come across many manticores in the forest, since that is where they hang out, and if she noticed one being non-aggressive, I think she would know something was up, and may even have a potion. The more I think about it, the more that the Everfree Forest and Zecora seems like the safest way of returning to normal, because she's probably educated enough to know that something's gone wrong, especially because she's good at noticing ailments. And if there's an ailment, she has a concoction to fix it. So that's what I would do. A full-length, fan-made episode of My Little Pony is being released in 6 parts this fall called Double Rainbow. An animatic from the first scene was just released, and this is by far the coolest animation our fandom has collectively produced, in my personal opinion. Are you excited for its completion? How do you think Hasbro will react? Do you think this would encourage them to continue producing episodes beyond Season 3?
It looked really good and had crazy good voice acting. I'm very excited for its completion, and hopefully Hasbro will react positively. And actually, the most interesting thing, of course, in one way, what Hasbro thinks is the most important, but for the continuing of the series and stuff. But the most interesting reaction still will be from the team making the entire series, in my opinion, just because, well, they are the creative minds behind everything. So how they feel about people doing this kind of stuff, it must feel great for them to be this appreciated, and it is just completely amazing, and I really do hope it encourages them to continue producing stuff beyond Season 3. It would be crazy for them not to. I really hope they do that, of course, as anyone would. So yeah, this looked incredibly cool.
Yeah, they have such a huge franchise on their hands, and it's only growing in size. Don't let the fire burn out. I mean, the fans are fueling this, just everything that's awesome about this series, and are sending back positive feedback, or at least the majority are. And I really hope animations like this show that if people are being impatient and waiting for new episodes, they may just take it in their own hands to make the episodes themselves. Which I'm all for, because the fans are just as creative as the creators of the show, and I think they should share that talent and make some awesome animations out of it.
I'm positively excited for this episode of Flamingo's animation, or Zach Ricari, or what was the name? I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, but I'm positively excited for his work, because from what I've understood, he actually studies animation and is more of a bigger animation enthusiast than me, because I'm merely a hobbyist. I'm just doing it for quick laughs and all that. So when someone actually who has a bigger passion for animation than me, I kind of excited to see how he fares in doing what he wants to do, especially when it's ponies. Because of that kind of passion, it just strives to be greater quality than my general animations. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the episode and excited for it. And as for Hasbro reacting to the episode, at the moment, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is probably their highest selling points on the hub. Sure, there is Dan versus and some other shows, like they're showing the Batman the Animated Series and all that, but at the moment, because Ponies is the coolest thing ever, it kind of does give them the opportunity to milk the series, if you can call it that. Because I wouldn't mind it, but of course you can't keep going forever with the episodes. So I would say that maybe season 3 is the highest point if they make it a full season and not just a half a season like it's planned right now. So yes, I guess it will somehow make Hasbro react, but as for how it will go down, that's up for debate, or we have to wait and see.
This is definitely the greatest compliment the Bronies can give back to people who made this show possible, and saying, this is what you've done, this is what we're going to do in return, and rock their world, show them that we're just as passionate about the show as they are. And through that mutual appreciation, I think we'll just fuel each other's liking to the series. And quite frankly, I don't care if Hasbro has a business mindset with the series. If they make money off of ponies, good for them. It's their series. I'm just happy to be enjoying it. And since it's a good series, I'm willing to spend the money to support it, plain and simple.
Hello, everypony. I'm General Cacti, and I'm here to bring you the point of interest. I'm a Flash animator, so this segment will focus on awesome animations and abridged parodies that the fans have made. In this week's Internet Recon mission, I've come across 2 Flash animations by 2 very talented animators that I believe you should check out. I preemptively apologize for my potential mutilation of your name, but our first animation is brought to us by Yudhei Kelladai. The piece in question is the latest installment of the My Little Ponies Thinking with Portals series. The one I wanted to talk about is called Home Alone. This particular episode stars Fluttershy, home alone on a dark, dreary, stormy night. I won't spoil it for you, but I'd just like to say that I was really impressed by how beautiful and smooth the animation in this piece was. Yudhei Kelladai does a wonderful job of telling a great story without words. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Yudhei Kelladai, I have 1,000 words for you. All of them, awesome. Keep up the good work. Our second point of interest is an animation that was created by our special guest today, Mr. Poninator. I've been a fan of his work for a good while now. Like an animating beast, Mr. Poninator manages to create weekly Flash animations based on the previous episodes of My Little Pony, but always with a comedic flavor that you would definitely not get from the show. I like to think of his animations as alternate what-if realities, such as, what if Fluttershy was accepted into the Wonderbolts and not Rainbow Dash? The newest animation of his that you should check out is called Hurricane Wondershy. For the speed at which these animations are created, Mr. Poninator does not skimp on the quality. Awesome backgrounds, cleanly animated all the way through. We have 3 skits inside of this Flash, 2 featuring Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, and 1 featuring Scootaloo. I'm not going to spoil any more of it for you, but I just want to say that the last skit was genius. Random comedy is best comedy in my book. Mr. Poninator, I salute you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes General Cacti's point of interest. Take care, Pony. Dismissed.
Today's April 1st, and the world is full of chaos. Whether you fancy inflatable multicolored hoof hands, mismatched merchandise, or you just realize that Moon Dancer is best pony, April Fool's Day's got you covered. So, what's your favorite prank?
There's been several good pranks. The Equestria Dailies, of course, with their post-generation pony stuff and thing. And then DeviantArt's takeover with the cats and FimFiction, changing the names of ponies in fanfictions to their corresponding older generation names, are all very, very, very good pranks. And I can't really choose. The Equestria Daily is, of course, really great, but it feels a bit mainstream, so I'm gonna go with the FimFiction one, just because I'm a hipster. Yep.
There's the Equestria Daily. I really like the Wheel of Finds hoof hands, yes, those plastic things. Then also there was Google Maps, like Dragon Quest thing, and then there's like even a 4chan did a small one. And then it's not the ponies that made the April Fools for me. It was more of a Reddit, because they have this timeline thing, and where you can go to different years to check what's going on. It's like Fry from Futurama is in the year 3000, and then in the beginning of the year 0 there is Keanu Reeves just running around, and then other small tidbits like 1975 or 78, 85, where there is some Back to the Future references and all that. I really like or enjoyed reading all those small tidbits and jokes in there. And Reddit gets the crown this year from me, but Equestria Daily and all those other sites did good too.
Outside of the fandom, my favorite prank today would have to be the YouTube DVD edition, where you can order the entire YouTube collection on DVD, complete with commercials and ordering forms. When I filled out the paperwork, my total fee came to about $3 million in laser discs for the entire YouTube collection, and the commercial for it is quite humorous, so if you haven't already checked it out, I should have hoped you had before it's gone. Within this fandom, I'm gonna represent the YouTube audience, because my inbox was just overwhelmed with hilarious content from Bronies going out of the normal. Take Psychosis's mashups, for example. You know, the pony no pony should ever give up, and Rainbow Crash's 88's crazy insane video, MLP fighting his magic Diamond Tiara stage, which, oh boy, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. Also, Super Mario Galaxy releases a Project Saturation preview, unofficial of course. We have Sergeant Scrub Noob reminding us all that he's officially quit. We have Hot Diggity Demon releasing Spike.mov.
Oh yes, Spike.mov, that was a fun one too. Especially because I got nostalgia from Tech Decks.
Oh yes, I was such a skating nerd back in the days. I also got all nostalgic about the Tech Decks.
Let's not forget Beetle Brony with his My Fair Princess parody of My Sweet Lord. Ask Big Mac has an episode on April Foolishness, and he does some silly events. Another thing outside of the fandom with Harry101 UK, he does a lot of Portal videos that I'm obsessed about, and he did a When I'm Bored parody involving Wheatley, so he finally jumped into the fad for his April Fool's video, so I got a big kick out of that. Also, Deathinator, who creates awesome metal music, has given up on the genre and has decided that he's going to be making electronic music from now on, and gives us a 15-minute MIDI synthesized track to enjoy. Actually, just about everyone I've subscribed to has participated in this event in some way, whether it be people going outside of their genres or parodying their friends' genres. Everyone had some sort of joke to make today, and it was a lot of fun. Well, it's time to wrap up the show, but not without some much-needed entertainment and last-minute news. This program's Song of the Week goes to Mando Pony for his incredibly addictive track, Picture Perfect Pony. The melody is fine and the lyrics make sense. The music is uplifting and makes it nearly impossible to sit still. But there's one element that puts this song above the rest. Its chorus. It's done so well, you'll never get the tune out of your head. I heard this song when it was new, and I've still thought about it every day since. If you haven't purchased the song, you should do so right away. So, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about EverFree Northwest. It's going to be amazing. And in case you forgot, it's going to be held in Seattle, Washington on August 17th to 19th. There'll be a whole bunch of guests, Just about every staff member on this site is going to be there, as well as contributors like Dusty Cat and Nightmare Moon. In fact, I'm going to be there. Who knows? You may be lucky enough to listen in on one of our live shows. Speaking of Dusty Cat, he's got his own show too. In case you didn't know, Dusty Cat is also known as the manliest brony in the world. And this is no stretch of the imagination. I once saw him halt an entire stampede of buffalo with the radiant sheen of his mustache. And if this couldn't get any more awesome, you're going to get to hear from him live on Radiant Eclipse on an amazing show that will be aired on EverFree Radio on April 29th. It's going to be an amazing show, so be sure to mark your calendars for April 29th. But until then, go check out his program. Stay brony, my friends. And why not? If you're in the Pacific time zone like me, you can catch him after work at 5 p.m. sharp on Monday. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, in case you forget. So, you guys remember Equestrian Inquirer? Well, apparently they have their own show too. So be sure to tune in on Wednesday, April 11th, for a sweet treat delivered hot off the press from Joe Stevens himself. Oh, and Michelle Krieber, who's famous among Bronies for voicing Apple Bloom on Friendship is Magic, is teaming up with the incredible Mando Pony for some charity goodness with the Because I'm a Girl campaign. Come on, folks, it's for charity, and you're also showing your appreciation to these awesome musicians. I would emphasize, but this is charity. Do you even need a reason? Go make us proud. Oh, and while you're in the giving mood, also check out the charity by Maddie Peter. And you can find their page linked on the super special awesome website you can also find me, EverFreeRadio.com. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming on to the show. It's been a blast, and we look forward to making many more for you guys at our new home. Thanks for your time. See you online.
To share with you, and I think you all are very much going to like it. You're going to love what you see. If there's anything you want, you know I can give it. If there is a dream you dream, I can let you live it. Take a chance and let me do what I do the best. We can take you, clean you up, and make you shine above the rest. It doesn't really matter what they thought of you before. By the time that I am done, no pony will ignore you, little you, now a great big superstar. Stick with me, baby, and I'll make you go far. That's right, I can make you a picture-perfect pony. A picture-perfect pony, 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 pony. 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 1, 2, 3, click. Photo finish, that's her name. Making every pony pretty is her #1 game. She do what she do to make you more than you. No pony gonna care if what we share is true. Cause lies are beautiful, the truth is not. Come a little Mary, better shake that plot. You know that's what they really all came to see. A picture perfect pony. Why you gotta ruin everything with questions? Shut it to now, and don't forget to mention how happy you are that they all came to see you. And how do you understand every pony wants to be you? If they only knew, it ain't easy being a picture perfect pony. A picture perfect pony, 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 pony. Picture perfect pony. A picture perfect pony, 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 pony. Picture perfect pony. A picture perfect pony, 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 pony. Picture perfect pony. A picture perfect pony, 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 pony. you may think you possess. Every pony will adore you when they see you in that dress. Fans screaming every day to get a piece of you. Lights, cameras all the time, watching what you do. You know it's what you want, I mean, how could you say no? There's never been a pony here with the guts to go. And why would you run away? It's every pony's dream to be a star in outer space where no pony hears you scream. That's why you wanna be a picture-perfect pony. A picture-perfect pony, 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 pony. 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 Picture-perfect pony. A picture-perfect pony, 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 pony.
Hey, guys and gals of this crazy world, this is Dang it!
You always said this is cantaloupes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Mallets and cantaloupes.
I think we can call this a wrap, boo-boo.
You've been in your car for an hour trying to record one line.
That's beside the point. We're done now.
Did you even record that line?
It's probably in here somewhere.
I mean,
I don't
seriously,
care, boo-boo.
Cacti, who goes out into the car for an hour to record one sentence? I mean, it's not like this animation has been in the works for a couple of months.
I have to say, that Fluttershy is best pony. Don't you agree, boo-boo?
I like Pinkie Pie, Yogi.
Pinkie Pie? She's clinically insane, boo-boo. How could you like that nutcase?
Well, she always has so much energy and always throwing fun parties for her friends and having the kind of happiness that I never had.
Awkward silence?